So, the wildest video just popped up on my YouTube news feed, let's call it, and I'm going to share the title of the video and maybe not the creator's name, but I will tell you some things about the creator that makes this video just yeah. And the interesting synchronicity of this particular, I guess you could call it a moment, is that I've been thinking a lot about redemption lately. I've been thinking a lot about, is there an opportunity? Are there some things that we do in this particular incarnation, in this particular life, that are unredeemable? And what is the demonstration of repentance that allows us to get back to a place where we are reducing our karmic debt? And I use these terms, I use these Vedic terms because I mean, you can call it cause and effect, really. I mean, maybe you don't believe in karma. I'm very much of the opinion that karma is part and parcel of the rationale of us kind of being here, that we are born in, in some vernacular you can call it sinners, but in other ways, you can call it kind of coming back to a moral balance or a moral equilibrium. So I'm going to go back to the story. I'm going to go back to this creator, right? So this creator is an OnlyFans creator. And this is an interesting pause for why this is coming up on my newsfeed. Maybe it's because I'm kind of not ashamed, but maybe I don't like being vulnerable and admitting that I can get reactive watching other men talk very poorly, very nastily about, other women, kind of red pill, gossip, drama, that kind of stuff. I think it's a kind of, it's an innate human reaction. You want to see the trouble that's gone on, the drama that's gone on. And again, I don't like indulging it, but often I find myself, if I'm not particularly mindful, consuming content that fundamentally doesn't sit well with my soul. And I don't like doing that. I really don't like doing that. Anyway, so this OnlyFans creator, OnlyFools creator, is documenting and vlogging her journey from just starting her business to how she's going to monetize her business. She feels it would be valuable to other women, to show other women how she is monetizing her sexuality, her intimacy, and her sexual organs, I guess you could say. She is a single mother. Now, the reason I talk about redemption, or I mentioned redemption at the start of this video, is because there's been a lot of, I mean, by the time I record this is probably a little bit further on, but there's been a lot of news about creators who are finding Jesus, deleting all their content, and coming back to the Lord, right? Reducing their karmic debt, finding redemption. And there is one camp that is of the opinion that this is some kind of posturing, some kind of moral posturing, that there is no intention to redeem oneself. It's all a marketing ploy. And I certainly think there are a lot of individuals who do that. And there are some individuals who say that, yes, Jesus forgives all, and that if you show and demonstrate true repentance, then you'll be saved in that way. And I've been kind of grappling with this idea because I think one camp starts from a kind of ego perspective. It's from a kind of maybe limited, narrow human ego perspective, which is, hey, you got the freedom to do whatever you want in the life, but you don't have the freedom of consequence, and you're going to have to accept the consequences. And then there is a more soul perspective that, I'm not out of sympathy with, and anybody who knows me knows that I am spiritually inclined. And I would say that, again, if you demonstrate, it's not enough to say. It's not enough to say. It's not enough to post. It's not enough to write that you have acquitted yourselves of all your debauchery in the past. It's not enough. And I think there is a certain time frame in which you need to continually demonstrate that kind of repentance. Can't be done overnight. I don't think Jesus will save you overnight. I think there has to be a willingness and a practical demonstration of your repentance. And whether that means, and I think some of the best way is donating the wealth that you've accrued as a consequence of sullying your body, disrespecting yourself, and profiting off those who are ensconced in the negative and carnal emotion of lust, and giving that wealth and delivering it from a higher place, from charity, from love, from peace, from courage. I think that is something that I would need to witness to allow somebody, because what you're doing is you're building a road, you're building a path for you to come back towards whatever God means to you. You've kind of, the analogy is you're straying from this path. You're kind of, some of these women have walked into the wilderness. There's no path. They can't even see any hope of civilization. They're in the deep Amazon jungle. And they think they can just go overnight, oh no, I'm free from this path, turn around. You're still in the jungle. You're still deep in the jungle. You have to walk 5 miles, 6, some of you got to walk a long way to get back and find that road. And I like that analogy. And I think that's the one that I would lean on in respects to this idea of redemption, because I don't believe that I don't like the idea of absolutes. I'm thinking about that Obi-Wan Kenobi line in Star Wars. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Only evil works in absolutes. The absolutes don't really exist. It's complex, and it's kind of definitive, and predetermined. And there doesn't, allow a lot of room for nuance in that respect. And that's why I kind of reject that argument. I think it's far more complicated than that. And then I was thinking, how much of this is equally our fault? I get exposed to, certain clips on certain podcasts with these kind of personality types that I start this video with. And they say that, well, this wouldn't be a problem if men weren't buying our content, weren't supporting us in this way. And I had to kind of think on that for a long time, because part and parcel of the work I do here is kind of an antidote to that idea. I think there's merit in that point, that if men had more jurisdiction and control of their sexual energies, then they would cease to be funding what we're seeing. Like, I don't think you can have an opinion, a negative opinion about these women who are fundamentally selling intimacy if you are the buyer, if you're supporting with your money, because that's what you're doing. And then I thought to myself, well, the individuals and the men that I am mentoring, that I'm coaching, that I've gotten this information from are men I would categorize in top 1% of the world, because the 99 are going to fall prey to animal instincts. And that's, no, I don't want to say it's certainly not their fault. I think it's born more out of naivety in the social climate that we live in, and technology fundamentally making this stuff more accessible, because if you take away the technology, then you don't have access to it. I mean, it's like again, if one of the reasons I think I am when I was at university, I used to smoke a lot of cannabis, and one of the reasons I believe that made it difficult for me to quit is because all of my friends, well, not all of my friends, but some of my close friends smoked. So now I would run out of my queue of weed for the week, and we went to a party, and my friend Joel would give me a joint, and I'd be fine. Or he'd give me a number to call, or I would have some numbers to call. But now I've removed myself from that environment. Like, I don't know where to get cannabis now, even if I wanted some, But when you're talking about adult material, OnlyFans, you got a laptop, you got a phone, you got access. So technology is certainly an issue. But where does our responsibility end in that respect? I think it's kind of like Pandora's box. Once you go down the road of paying for intimacy, and it is intimacy. It's more than adult material, because you believe on some kind of level you've got a relationship with these women. You lose your base to complain. Yeah, you really do. And I'm not going to be able to stop it. I can only do my best to give men the information that they need in order to make, consenting adults will do what they want to do. That path is a path that, you start walking down that road, you might not find the strength to turn around and walk back towards God. No matter how dark it gets, I think, a lot of this is also, it's a multifactorial equation. It's certainly born out of some kind of loneliness as well. I accept that. I do accept that. But I believe it's like drinking poison when you're thirsty. Maybe in the short term it will quench that need, but in the long term it will kill you. It will kill you. And you're going to see more of these women out here. I don't like the normalization of it. That's what's really kind of sick to me, is that, my curiosity got the better of me. I watched like the first 2 minutes of the video, and then I had to because I was getting ill. I was getting ill watching this video. I had to stop it. But she was like, yeah, I'm going to show you girls how I can make money from the convenience of my home, support my child, my little girl, 1 year old. And you're just going, oh my God. That's kind of the same in her situation. She's drinking poison, thinking it's going to quench her thirst, but a future of that innocent soul. She wasn't particularly old either. I think she was in her maybe mid-20s, something like that. What do you do? Really kind of makes you despair at where we are at the moment. And then you talk about the duality of the world in kind of a very strange way. It sounds very strange. We kind of need people like that, because when you do find an honest woman, a God-loving, God-fearing woman who is shy, who honors her father and her mother, who's very respectful, who honors health and femininity, who dresses fairly conservatively. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. But you kind of need the latter to fully embrace and love and rejoice in the in the former. It's a weird dichotomy. That's the nature of dualism, you know. You kind of need the despair, those moments of despair, as and you have to look outside of a human perspective, you know. You have to look outside of that human perspective, otherwise you won't realize it. And then you meet a woman like that and it's absolutely beautiful. And there's another thing for me about apathy, lethargy in women, and fundamentally like lack of skills, you know. Like, women only do that because they're not, and I'm speaking specifically about this individual, but they're just lazy and they don't want to get a job. They don't want to contribute to society. And mistakes that they've made because, you know, maybe they have a kid, you know, maybe they weren't conservative, maybe they were dressing rather scantily and then they ended up getting a pregnancy, and she, you know, she's a single mother, so that's probably the case, something like that. Father didn't want to stick around for very long because again, he let his carnal desires get the better of him. But we need to in many ways, I do believe men, I don't like not being in control, and I don't like blaming other people for something that I believe I can fundamentally have some kind of dimension of control in, and I think you should too. And in that way, when I think about where, because I know the channels, I know Better Bachelor, I know all these other, you know, podcasts that, you know, talk very poorly of women generally, and I know it's a kind of woman. It's easy to fall into that narrative. But are we not the leaders? Are we not the leaders? Are men not the leaders? It's something I always come back to when I kind of meditate and mull over this idea, is that men lead the way and women follow. We are supposed to follow God. Women follow man. But again, it's not for any self-gratification purposes. If any woman is watching this, again, I think, you know, the idea of following a man in that respects, she might interpret that as some kind of selfishness on our behalf, but it's not. It's we're supposed to be a conduit for divine, for spirit, whatever your God is, doesn't matter, you know, whatever that kind of sanctity is. We're supposed to be a conduit. When we say men are leading the way, it's not that you're following men really. It's that men are supposed to embody this extension of God. So we're both following God in that way. And that's what I really truly think what it means to be masculine. Well, we lost our way. We start serving ourselves. God is dead and we have killed him, said Nietzsche. Something to meditate on, guys. Lead. These are not theories, these are facts. Speak soon.